this is a report which has been prepared by a 7-member committee constituted by the Ministry of Mines under the chairmanship of Joint Secretary Policy. May I request Dr. Veena also to join, the chairman. And after a 3-stage assessment process, 1, studying critical mineral strategies of various countries. 2nd, the interministerial consultation to identify the minerals critical for various sectors. 3, derive the empirical index in consultations with IEA and CSCP, who have adopted the EU methodology. And then also considering some of the important parameters such as resource, reserve position in the country, production, import dependency, use of future technologies, fertilizer minerals, and the others, so as to arrive to the list of 30 critical minerals identified for India. And we give you further insights into this report. We have a short film towards it. If you can play the film, please.
Minerals are essential raw materials in our daily lives and are vital for economic, social and technological development. The modern world is moving towards a zero-carbon energy future energy system powered by clean energy technologies. In this rapidly changing landscape, countries around the world are making efforts to create secure supply chains for a wide range of critical minerals central to clean energy technologies. Critical minerals are those minerals which are essential for economic development and national security. The lack of availability of these minerals or even concentration of existence, extraction or processing of these minerals in few geographical locations may lead to supply chain vulnerability and disruption. Countries, including India, have set a target to work towards a carbon-free world. India has set a target for 2070 to be net zero.
पंचामृत की सौगात देना चाहता हूं। पहला, भारत 2030 तक अपनी नॉन फोसिल एनर्जी कैपेसिटी को 500 गीगावाट तक पहुंचाएगा। दूसरा, भारत 2030 तक अपनी 50% एनर्जी रिक्वायरमेंट रिन्यूएबल एनर्जी से पूरी करेगा। तीसरा, भारत अब से लेकर 2030 तक के कुल प्रोजेक्टेड कार्बन एमिशन में 1 बिलियन टन की कमी करेगा। चौथा, 2030 तक भारत अपनी अर्थव्यवस्था की कार्बन इंटेंसिटी को 45% से भी कम करेगा। और पांचवा, वर्ष 2070 तक भारत नेट जीरो का लक्ष्य हासिल करेगा।
Critical minerals will play an important role in the goals set up by the Honorable Prime Minister. The Indian economy has undergone a transformative process of new age reforms in the last decade. The central government is trying to build the foundation upon which India can thrive in the 21st century. An important step in this direction is the efforts to create resilient and diversified mineral supply chains. For this, it is essential that India identify the minerals which are economically important but in short supply in the country. The world's biggest economies such as the US, the UK, Japan, and Australia all have identified their list of critical minerals. The US has a list of 50 minerals, UK has a list of 18 minerals, Japan has 31 minerals, while Australia has 26. Minerals like cobalt, graphite, lithium, PGE, nickel, gallium, niobium, etc. are needed for green energy technologies. Whereas there are other minerals, like potash and phosphate, which are critical to India being an agrarian economy. In order to identify the list of critical minerals for India, a committee was constituted by the Ministry of Mines with the order dated the 1st of November 2022. Identification of critical minerals will help the country to plan for the acquisition and processing of such mineral assets, taking into account the long-term needs of the country. For most of the countries, criticality is judged by two main parameters: economic importance and supply risk. In Indian context also, the same two parameters were taken into consideration. The committee, after a series of deliberations, decided to make a three-stage assessment in order to arrive at the set of minerals critical to the country. In the first stage, a study of the critical mineral strategies of various countries was carried out. The second stage involved an inter-ministerial consultation with different line ministries, and in the third stage, discussions were held with think tanks like International Energy Agency and Center for Social and Economic Progress. In addition, the balance resource and reserve positions for each element, the import dependency, and elements of strategic interest were also taken into consideration to arrive at a set of critical minerals. The committee identified the final set of 30 minerals critical to India. These are antimony, beryllium, bismuth, cobalt, copper, gallium, germanium, graphite, hafnium, indium, lithium, molybdenum, niobium, nickel, Pg, phosphorus, potash, rare earth elements, rhenium, silicon, strontium, tantalum, tellurium, tin, titanium, tungsten, vanadium, zircon, selenium, cadmium. The identification of the critical minerals will help us to make our supply chain for these mineral commodities more diverse, transparent, responsible and resilient. This will ensure that, in the decades to come, the minerals for which the country has favorable geological setting can be explored, extracted and processed in most scientific ways. For the other minerals, we can pursue bilateral and multilateral cooperation with friendly countries to secure critical mineral value chains. And, in doing that, India can position itself at the forefront of the green industrial revolution, create more opportunities for our people, all while showing international leadership and meeting the commitments on energy transition.
So, ladies and gentlemen, this is the list of 30 minerals which are going to be playing an important role towards the more climate-sensitive, clean, green, resilient, Atmanirbhar growth of India. And as we seek to be led by the progressive vision of our Honourable Minister, I request now Honourable Minister Sir, Shri Prahlad Joshi ji, to please address this august gathering.
Secretary Mines, Sri Vivek Bharadwaj, Additional Secretary Sanjay Lohia, and Minister from Assam, Sri Mohan, Director General GSI. Namaskar to all dignitaries, guests who have joined us here today. For the first time ever, we have released the list of the critical minerals for our country, and this list can also be called India's roadmap for Atmanirbhar Bharat. The importance of this report of India is paramount. It can be understood from the fact that nowadays everything around us is powered by the critical minerals. From mobile phones, computer to batteries, electric vehicles and green tech runs on the critical minerals. If India is to become Atmanirbhar, the only way is to first to become self-sufficient in securing the critical minerals. It will not be far-fetched to say that critical minerals are the building blocks for the modern civilization. It is therefore essential to our vision of building new India. During 26th session of the conference of the parties, COP26, India committed to the meeting half of its electricity requirements from renewable source by 2030, which has been already carbon intensity to the less than 45% by 2030 and achieving net zero emission by 2070. In order to achieve what PM has called Panchamitra for sustainable development, which you have seen in the video also, India needs to scale up the deployment of green technologies, including the solar panels, wind turbines, electric vehicles. Critical minerals including the cobalt, copper, lithium, nickel and rare earth and others, other rare earth minerals play a critical role in manufacturing of these equipments and technologies. India's list of critical minerals released today sets out the government vision under the leadership of Prime Minister Modi to grow the domestic critical mineral sector. The report has been shaped by extensive research and consultation to address the barriers and the opportunities in the sector. I congratulate entire team which was constituted in the ministry, and we constituted in last year, and within a year under the guidance of Secretary or Joint Secretary and Additional Secretary, Joint Secretary has given due process, due thought and given a very good report. I congratulate them. Along with this report, we also plan to bring out a policy framework and time-bound action plan for the exploration, processing, use and recycling. The policy is reduce, recycle and also reuse. These are the 3 R's is the policy. And critical minerals in the country, we are also working out through GSI. GSI has now handed over 170 reports to the various states. Out of that, of the critical minerals, out of that G2 level are 36, G3 30 and G4 104. NMET prioritize, National Mineralization Exploration Trust prioritize funding of the exploration of deep-seated critical minerals. In the current field season, GSI has taken up 151 critical mineral exploration projects, which is 50% of its total yearly exploration project. Previously it used to happen that in the superficial mineral also, GSI used to take it up to G2 and G1 level. That we said for the superficial mineral, you give the report at G4 and G3. We can auction it at the composite. We can go for the composite license, and by that now GSI is concentrating more on the critical and deep-seated rare earth minerals. The policy shall have several actionable and including identification of critical minerals. Other points will include domestic exploration, private participation in exploration. There was only one exploration agency before. Now we have allowed the private participation also. There are 14 private companies which are able to be, which are empaneled and they are able to participate in the exploration. I am informing this to assure that industry, that the government is committed towards their welfare. We are not only framing the policy guideline but also forging the partnership with the other countries to secure the supply of the critical minerals. Last week, When Prime Minister Modi ji was in USA, the two nations reiterated the collaboration to secure the resilient critical mineral supply chains. Thanks to efforts of Prime Minister Modi ji, India has been inducted into the Mineral Security Partnership (MSP), a US-led collaboration of 14 countries to bring about the investment in the critical mineral supply chains. Moreover, India and Australia are strengthening their partnership in the clean energy transition and creating resilient supply chains for the critical minerals. The two countries have identified 5 targeted projects, 2 lithium and 3 cobalt, to undertake the detailed due diligence. We are also contemplating to establish a Center of Excellence for the Critical Minerals as a new wing in the Ministry of Mines. It will help identifying the next generation critical minerals deposit through geological knowledge, data analytics and machine learning. It is said that journey of thousands of miles begins with one step. Today, the release of India's first ever list of critical minerals is the first step. Combined with the several other initiatives, we are creating diverse, resilient, sustainable supply chains through a strong and secure international partnership. This identification of 30 minerals puts the India at par with the other global economies like Australia, Japan, US, UK, South Korea, etc., thereby by enabling us to provide roadmap for the strategic planning, investment, policy formulation to safeguard our national interest and promote the long-term sustainability. However, it is important to note that the list is not static. The dynamics of the mineral sector and evolving technological advancement require us to regularly review, update this inventory. We must remain vigilant, adaptive, and also responsive to the changing global landscape to ensure the continued availability and necessity of these critical minerals. In the Mines Ministry, we are regularly undertaking the policy measures to adapt with the changing times. As a result of our efforts, I can say with the pride that India's mineral sector today matches to the global standards. Some of the key reforms in the sector include amendment to MMDR Act, Mines and Mineral Development Regulation Act 1957 in 2015, moving to the auction-only regime, establishment of NMET to promote the mineral exploration, constitution of DMF for the welfare activities in the mining affected regions. Again, amendment to MMDR Act in 2020, seamless transfer of all valid rights, licenses, approvals, clearances, etc. to new lessee, power to state to auction the mining lease before the expiry, exploration of the deep-seated minerals and the minerals of national interest by allowing non-exclusive reconnaissance permit NERP holders to apply the composite license of mining lease PL/ML. Again, Mines and Mineral Development Regulation Amendment Act 2021, removing the distinction between captive and merchant mines, allowing the sale up to 50% of the minerals produced during the year after meeting the requirement of the attached plan in the captive mines, doing away with the user restriction, resolving the pending case of the section 10A2B by bringing them under the new auction regime. This has made around 500 mineral blocks available. Substituting mining operation with the production and dispatch, since the interpretation of the term mining operation is generic, it is difficult to cancel non-producing leases. reallocation of non-producing blocks of the government companies, as some of the mining blocks reserved for the government countries are not brought into the production years together. For years together, they never used to produce. We are taking them back and handing over to the either to the state government or we are auctioning it. Statutory clearance to be valid even after the expiry of the termination of mining lease and would be transferred to the next lessee of the mines. Allowed the transfer of mineral concession without any changes and the transfer of mine allowed to the existing holder to an interested party resulting into the operation of mine. As per the guidance of Prime Minister Modi to promote the ease of doing, decriminalized 49 rules in mineral concession rules and 24 rules in mineral conservation and development rules. For identifying and sourcing the battery minerals like lithium and cobalt, Kabil has been signed 3 MOUs with government companies of Argentina to explore the sourcing of lithium and other mineral assets in Argentina. Kabil is making the progress to sign the draft non-disclosure agreement of jointly pursuing the lithium mining projects in Chile. Therefore, we are truly transferred the India's mineral sector, but I assure you that we are just warming up. Based on the industry feedback, we will continue to amend the MMDR Act to further reform the sector. For ease of doing business, whatever the suggestions we get from the sector, we are open for that. Even when I took charge in 2019, from that day I am telling any feedback from the industry which should be win-win situation, in that situation all suggestions are open. Under PM Modi, we are enacting coherent policies and making the smart investment to ensure uninterrupted mineral supply to the required industry. We are also making provisions to facilitate dedicated business-friendly policies that would encourage mining and mineral companies to increase their investments in India and bring the international best practices. The country has resources of nickel, cobalt, molybdenum and rare earth elements, but further the exploration would be needed to evaluate the quantities of these resources. I urge GSI, MECL, state DGMs and private exploration agencies to take more exploration projects of lithium, copper, nickel, cobalt and rare earth elements, and I also urge all state governments kindly actively participate, cooperate, ultimately that increases your revenue, not the central government revenue. By identifying and prioritizing the critical minerals, we are taking the proactive measures to reduce our dependence on imports, enhance our domestic production capabilities. In this regard, the release of this list of the critical minerals today is a significant step in our quest to resource the security, economic prosperity and sustainable development. Our task of securing supply of critical minerals may look daunting, but under PM Modi ji, we have achieved this several things, and earlier India used to depend on other countries for its defense needs, but under leadership of Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi government, India's defense exports have reached 16,000 crores. The historical decisions and the reforms taken by Modi government have placed India among the top nations in the world. Today, we are the 5th largest economy and we will be the 3rd largest economy very soon. We are giving China a tough competition. The Economist Intelligence Unit EIU has reported India to be one of the most improved countries in its quarterly forecast for the best business environment in next 5 years. However, China has dominant role in critical minerals market. It controls the significant portion of the global production and processing capacity of various critical minerals. If we are to compete with our neighbor, we have to move swiftly to secure self-reliance in supply of critical minerals. Critical minerals must not be prospected, explored and mined on priority, as any delays may hinder the India's emission reduction and climate change mitigation timeline. Today's day, therefore, sets a milestone in India's journey in harnessing critical minerals. We have taken an important step by identifying the list of critical minerals to eventually extract more value from our onshore and offshore resources, thus creating jobs and economic opportunities for progress. Together, let us harness the potential of these critical minerals to build the brighter future of our nation and contribute to the global well-being. With these words, I congratulate all the team members who have worked relentlessly to identify and develop this report. It is indeed a significant milestone for our nation and a testament in our commitment to sustainable development of resource security. I am confident that concentrated efforts will help building the new India, Atmanirbhar Bharat. Jai Hind, all the best.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister Sir, for your very deep insights on the importance of this report and the various reforms and initiatives which are being taken under the leadership of Honorable Prime Minister towards shaping a more progressive, robust, facilitating and an Atmanirbhar mining sector, and further working towards the global good and welfare of all. Thank you, Minister Sir. And ladies and gentlemen, at the closure, I now request and invite our Joint Secretary Policy Mines, Dr. Veena Kumari D. She is the chairperson of the 7-member committee which was constituted by the Ministry to identify the list of critical minerals for our country. I request her for her concluding remarks and also to kindly propose a formal vote of thanks.
Honorable Minister of Mines, Coal and Parliamentary Affairs, Government of India, Honorable Minister of Mines, Government of Assam, Secretary Ministry of Mines, Ambassador from Mongolia and other diplomats from other countries, senior officers of the Ministry, on and off the dais. Good evening to all of you. First and foremost, I would like to extend my deepest gratitude to the Honorable Minister of Mines. Sir, your visionary leadership, unwavering commitment and relentless efforts have been instrumental in shaping the mineral sector of our country.